When several bends are being made in the same wire, start with the bends in the anterior. Replace the wire and mark the spots for the posterior teeth. Attempting to make too many bends at one time may result in the steps not fitting between the brackets, since wire is used up making the steps. Closing space can also be impeded when the bends are made in the wire. If you need to close space, be certain that the steps are not stopping the wire from sliding through the slots. Third-order bends are those that alter the torque in the teeth or tooth. They must be made in rectangular wire to give the proper activation in the edgewise bracket. To place third-order bends, you need two pliers. One is used to maintain the torque in the segment that you do not wish to change, and the second to alter the torque in the segment that you do want to change. For example, let's assume that the lingual cusps of the upper posterior teeth are hanging down too much to the occlusal, and you need to add buccal root torque to the wire from the distal of the cuspid posterior. You should mark the wire distal to the cuspid, then position one plier on that spot, since you do not wish to alter the anterior torque. The second plier is then twisted down to give more buccal root torque. To check the wire, grab each segment with the pliers and check the plane. Alterations of 10 to 15 degrees at a time can be tolerated each month. Remember to tie the wire in very tight into the bracket slot. Let's now cover some specific bends that are commonly used. Sweeps are made in wires to coordinate upper and lower arch forms. Buccal sweeps, made in the arch wire, serve to widen the bicuspids and toe in the molars, especially in the second molar region. Use your fingers to create the sweeps in each segment. Rocking chair curves are similar to sweeps, but in the vertical plane. We use them to add torque to the anterior teeth as the bicuspids are extruded and the molars are intruded. In placing the wire, a portion of the curve will be lost, so we accentuate slightly more than you think you need. Take a rectangular wire arch form and make the curve starting in the area of the cuspid. Now view the anterior and see how the torque could be altered. We will often square the arch form to widen the cuspids and retract the anterior teeth. The opposite arch form may be tapered to reduce the cuspid width and advance the anteriors. This exercise is done when the cuspids are class 1, but there is excessive overjet. Square the upper arch wire and taper the lower arch wire. To square the upper arch wire, spread with each hand and flatten the anterior. To taper the lower, accentuate the anterior curve. Skewing the arch form to one side or the other can have an effect on the midline and cuspid overjet. One side has the cuspid move in closer to the center of the arch, and the other side is skewed out to increase cuspid eminence. On a high percentage of cases, I will step out the mesial of the cuspids to increase the cuspid eminence and make the contacts between the distal of the lateral and the mesial of the cuspid coincident. These bends are made larger than step bends, and the cuspids are then ligated with steel ligature ties. Bayonet bends are made mesial to first molars to rotate the tooth mesial buccal. These are necessary when the band has been placed too distal or elastic force has been used causing a mesiolingual rotation. When this problem exists, you will need to band the second molar and convert the first molar tube to a bracket. I use 2 steel ligature ties to force the wire into the molar bracket. At times it is necessary to go back to 018 nite wire to start the finishing of a case, since rotations of teeth are present for one reason or another. To speed up the finishing process, you may want to begin making bends in the nite wire. If so, you may bend around the rounded portion of the pliers. Make your bends large, since you will not be able to accentuate these bends many times, if at all, without the wire breaking.